OKC 127-114. And the matchup we've been watching this entire series, Game 5, Round 5, goes to Chet Holmgren, number 7. As you can see, he was able to get things started from the very beginning of this game. OKC looking like a completely different team in Game 5. And at home, and guess what? Friend of the show, Chet Holmgren is joining us on NBA Showtime.
Stay ready to go.
Yes, we're still
Stay
here.
ready to go.
Maria Taylor, the Hall of Famers, Carmelo, Anthony, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady here with you. Chet, let's get into it. This was your best game of the series. We're happy to have you back on the show, but tell us why.
Why I'm here or why you're happy to see me?
No, why it's the best.
We definitely happy to see you.
I feel like
he's tired.
I got you. Right, it's Game 5, Chow.
Yeah, I'm zoned out now.
All good.
But, you know, I think just being able to, you know, watch the tape and then find spots to be aggressive and then going out and being aggressive, you know, trusting the work. And then, you know, we saw tonight good things happen.
With Wemby being on the other side, you yourself being an elite player in this league, 2 tall, lanky, you know, elite players, young players. Do you look at this as a great big man matchup that will be rivalry for years to come?
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, you know, when you're in it, you have to look at it as, you know, Thunder versus Spurs. You know, we're trying to win these games. They're trying to win these games. That's how you have to attack it. And, you know, they have a really good team. We have a really good team. You guys know things are fragile in the NBA, but, you know, we're going to try and keep this thing going as long as we can. I'm sure they are too. So, you know, I'm sure that means we're going to cross paths a lot.
Social media is what it is. It's easier today to hear all of the talk. But for you, you made your first couple of shots. Did that settle you in? Did that lock you in? Did it kind of make you now feel like you're aggressive? How was it once you see a couple of shots go in early in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to see a couple go down early. You know, I felt like it helped me get a good rhythm. And, you know, I just got to keep it flowing from there.
What did you tell yourself within the last 48 hours? Because that wasn't an adjustment like for me. That was like a mindset shift when it comes to how you approach this game tonight. What was you telling yourself within the last 48 hours?
Yeah, just I'd say the biggest thing is just being aggressive. You know, this is a really good team, and obviously, you know, they have a very different defense than any other team that you see. So, you know, what you're doing all regular season and stuff, you know, a lot of that stuff goes out the window. So, you know, you're not going to have a great rhythm going into stuff. So it's just about being aggressive. You know, when you play hard and, you know, throughout the game, you're going to get cracks. So you just got to take advantage of them.
I have a question just in general. The last time we talked to you, it was ring night, and we were here and we were celebrating, and you guys are defending champs. And I'm just thinking about the mental fortitude you have to even make it back here. You guys had a couple of sweeps. This is the biggest challenge you face. Like, what does it take? What does it require to continue down this path and continue to show up, get off the mat, respond? Like, how are you guys just handling having endurance throughout this season?
Yeah, you know, I can't speak for everybody. I feel like we have a great team mindset around, you know, never quitting no matter what happens. And, you know, like you said, the endurance to do it, playing deep into the summer, short off season, and then right back to it. You know, we have young legs for the most part, except for like maybe AC and a couple other guys. But, you know, he does a great job of setting the tone for us. He's been there before us last year, and he kind of shares that knowledge with us, and we kind of just follow along.
I want to go into your mind. I want to go into your mindset. Before this series started, you had a phenomenal series against the Lakers. Your team has been phenomenal up until, you know, game 1 of this series, when we put up 41 and 24. When you're coming off a series like that, and then you're looking ahead to the San Antonio Spurs and the challenges that they present, what is your mindset? What are you thinking, and how you want to attack that series?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, once you win the last series, all that goes out the window.
Sure.
We're not playing them anymore. You know, you can take from certain aspects of the game and say, you know, I'm going to learn from these situations, but at the end of the day, you're playing a whole new team, and you got to try and figure them out. So, you know, you kind of switch modes from one team. Understand that, you know, it's not a perfect game. You know, every time I work for a catch or every time I run the floor hard, you know, it's basketball. You know, the ball might go to the other side of the floor. Somebody else might be open. Somebody else might make a play. So, you know, not letting missed opportunity become frustration, and just sticking with it.
One thing, Chet, when we were out on the court in San Antonio, they were still wiping your blood off of the back. So I just want to make sure.
You couldn't get it off.
I thought you were going to lose it. It's okay.
No. It's not that bad.
Okay.
It's a little gash, but it's all right.
It don't look that great. Well, Chet, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Y'all
you
can
so
close
much.
it out. Game 6
Keep
in
that
San
aggression,
Antonio.
Chet.
Yes, we will be there. We will be there. So Chet Holmgren has a double-double for the first time this series, which was bad news for the San Antonio Spurs and their head coach, Mitch Johnson, but he's stepping up to the podium now to answer questions.
Mitch, you guys were so good defensively in Game 4. What were the biggest breakdowns tonight? What disappointed you the most about this effort?
It just felt like it was a little bit of everything in terms of we did not put ourselves in position enough to be successful on each possession. And so to beat a team of this caliber in their building with what's the stakes will need to be a lot better to give yourself a chance.
Mitch, how would you describe kind of the start your team had, and particularly the second quarter when you gave up 40?
Yeah, just again, there were a lot of things that we were just in wrong positions or wrong coverages or poor decisions, which I'll have to go back and look at the film. Just felt like in the moment we'd been making consistently forward manner. And again, on a game like tonight, you give yourself no chance if that's the level that you're going to play to consistently for the 48 minutes.
And just out of curiosity, did the officials give you any kind of explanation for why you weren't able to get that challenge in that you were looking for?
They just said they didn't see me.
Mitch, how did you think Victor played, and can you do more to get him going?
We're going to need to. He's got to take more than 15 shots, even with the free throws, and yeah, he's going to have to score more than 20 points for sure. And
I'm sorry, is that his aggression or game plan or combination of both?
Yeah, combination of both for sure. OKC did a good job. We got to do a better job, and that's probably the easiest in terms of when you just surface level stuff that he'll definitely need to take more shots. But there's a lot of things all over the place where even when we had advantages and we just didn't make simple plays to take advantage of the opportunity in that possession. And in this type of game, you got to be sure of everything you're doing in a very secure, mature way.
Coach, you often talk about not wanting to sacrifice the intensity of a stint. You'd rather sacrifice the length of it. At this point in the season, when, you want to have your best guys out there at all times, are you looking at ways to sort of create advantages or scheme for the exhaustion at all? Or is that something you're not looking at?
Like the game can be the balance or really crucial part of the game, I guess. Whether you're making a run or the other team's making a run. And sometimes that can supersede the typical rotation or what you're trying to do. But, there's an understanding that if we want these guys to play a certain way, they have to be able to have energy to do it. And so sometimes you just got to make a gut call on that in terms of, what that means in the moment and playing certain guys and then what the return on that could be.
Coach, OKC and Shea were able to generate many free throws compared to Game 4. What was the reason for you? Do you think it was the poor decisions you were talking about in terms of discipline and defense?
Yeah, in the second quarter there for sure we had some times where, fouls or not, we need to be more aware of when we're in the bonus. And so, they got some free throws where they weren't in an advantage at that moment, or we weren't in a bad spot or out of position. And so you just got to understand, especially if you're on the perimeter and there's a lot of space around, the overly physical stuff if you give the ref the opportunity to call it, and now someone gets free throws and didn't really have to work to get to that or get us in a spot where we were at a disadvantage, that's where numbers can get big for giving up points in a quarter.
So the Spurs find themselves at a disadvantage majority of this game. We'll start with Victor Wembanyama. You heard Mitch Johnson saying that he has to shoot more shots and he's got to score more than 20 ultimately. He had his lowest field goal percentage and he was actually negative.
What happened? I think we're all confused and trying to figure out what happened. This is Game 5, a pivotal game in this series, and 80% of the time, whoever wins this game goes on to win the series.
Yeah.
And for me, we talk about how amazing Wemby is on the basketball court on both ends. Well, we didn't see that tonight.
Yeah.
And it's very shocking because games 1 and 4, he was that. He was all of that. And when you coming into a game that what's at stake, I expected a legendary performance, a historical performance. And the first quarter, it just seems like he was tired. He was lethargic. He didn't have the energy that I possess or they possess that he should have and come out in a Game 5 with. I don't know what it was, but Game 6 has to be a different Wembanyama. And we talked about last game of having more than 15 shots. Yeah. Well, he had that in, the first half, right? Tonight, really? 15 shots only? 4 for 15?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There should never be a time where he has 15 shots in this type of game. He has to dominate the paint. He has to live in the paint because that's where he collapses the shell. Just by starting down there, he's collapsing the shell, and it's opening things up for his teammates, and that didn't happen tonight.
Wemby, from the beginning of the game, warm-ups, looked to me like he was just going through the motions. He didn't have his same pop that he usually had before the game, pregame. He running up and down the court doing his pregame workout. He just looked a step behind tonight. And it showed in the game. Early in the game, he was trying to find his way. He was always one step behind on the rebound, on the loose ball. He was always one step behind. He looked tired tonight. He looked like there's been a lot on his shoulders. It's a lot of stress. This is part of it. This is Game 5. You got to figure out how to get through it. And again, these are learning curves for him. He's still young. He's 22 years old. He's just getting into this league. He's just starting to feel all of this pressure that's put on him. Tonight, I saw a tired Wemby. I saw a young, tired Wemby who couldn't figure it out, who had a game plan against OKC but just could not execute that game plan tonight. And again, he have to bounce back, and I think he will bounce back. But again, this is a learning curve for Wemby.
For me, I think what you both said, I totally agree. And the one thing I would have liked to have seen him do is just go into the post, and instead of just settling for the jump shot. And like you said, when you're tired, you know that when we're tired, we settle for the jump shot, and we saw a lot of that, which is letting them off the hook. The big picture is, you're that close. You had a phenomenal Game 4, bringing that energy to Game 5 on the road. You have a big first 5 minutes of the game. This looks different. This building is quiet. You're kind of in the driver's seat, and that was not the case. Once Shea got going and Chet got going, you just didn't see him answer back, and
couldn't get a rhythm.
I just
couldn't get it. But it's